Oh, would you look at that? I come online and there's some cuties waiting for me in chat. You know who you are. Yes, you are one of the cuties, it's true. I think you've always been a cutie though, Ella. I think that Aries and you... Oh, it's okay. I think you're lucky to have each other as two equal cuties. No problem. Caps aren't a huge deal in this chat. Until they become one eventually, which I'll be ready for. But it is 7:30. Equal cuties, it's true. 7:30 on the 17th of March. Wait, April, excuse me. And it is 2021. This is Cast Talks number 26. 26. And yes, I do mean both of you. You are a cutie as well. Playful. 26th episode. It is a wonderful thing to be here, to have done this for so long. I think we're over the 6-month period, I think. It might be 28, I don't know which, but it's one of those. 6 months of Cast Talks, wow. It's insane. But today, we have a lot in store. But first, I'll tell you what this is about. Cast Talks is a ASMR talk show in which me, your humble host, Cassius Mishima, talks to you. I delve into whatever subjects are important or recent, and I just start speaking my mind. If you'd like to use this to fall asleep or to relax or even just to have someone to, our humble cast, yeah, thank you, have someone just to be in the background for you for a little bit, then you can count on me. We'll be going for about 2 hours. That'll be until 9:30 CST. I hope you'll join us for a little bit of good news and a little bit of hamster videos. Today our animal of the week is a hamster. I'm looking forward to sharing those off. But before we begin, I want to ask my 2 current returners, my weekly, what do they call that? You guys are special either way, but there's a special word for it. My regulars, that's what it is. I want to ask you both how you're doing since you're already participating in chat. Let me know. Are you having your cuties? Yes. My cuties. How are you doing? I hope you're both having a lovely week. It has been an age, Ella, since we've actually talked on voice for a little while. And I miss that. I hope that you'll be available for that at some point during next week would be great. But, oh, you've been okay? Well, good. I assumed you were busy. Which, if that's the case, I understand. Doing alright, though annoyed a smidgen. I understand about how that goes, Playful. You're sorry, you want to talk to, just lately you get exhausted so quickly and your mind gets all blah. Well, Ella, I understand how that can be too. That happened in my last episode. When I was here, I just felt so tired. I was like, you know what, I'm thinking about my bed too much. I can't really enjoy the Cast Talks like that. So I went to bed. And if you're not available, you're not available. I understand. What has you so annoyed though, Playful? If you don't mind sharing. We got to talk earlier in the days, so I don't get all mega sleepy on you. Ontario just once again entered a lockdown, 6 weeks. Well, Yeah, it's a real pain. It's a real pain, but I'm sorry if that, and I'm sure it does, makes a difficult thing for your plans. Because this is the time of the world where we have to really not make as many plans in the real world as we used to, which is unfortunate, but you know, it's for the good of everybody, it seems. Yeah, it's unfortunate, I know. And I'm sorry about that. I wish there was more I personally could do, but I'm just one bean, and it's a big old pod. Big old beanstalk. That's what I should have said. I'll remember that from now on. I'm one bean in a big old beanstalk. But, you know, at least I've got you two for now. And I'm real grateful to be surrounded by two of the cuties of my life. As I like calling people cuties. You never have plans, but you just want to see your RL friends again in person. I could see that. I could see that. It is really hard to not see people that you love. And it's a shame that we aren't getting to do that right now. It'll come though. You have to give it some time. It's stupid, I agree. It's very stupid, and it sucks, and the world is full of this stupidity. But we'll get through it. Just gotta stick to our guns and work our magic of survival, something that humans are very good at. And we'll get through it together. Here is our first good news story. You've given it a year. Unfortunately, a year might not be enough this time, which is sad, but you know, a lot can happen in a year, and sometimes not a lot happens in a year. I'm not sure which it is right now, but certainly everyone's working their hardest to make it right, to make it normal, which normal is a strange word nowadays, but we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer. I hope that doesn't make you too impatient. But I will move on to our first news story of the day. This is from Good News Network. This is from today, actually, the 17th of April, 2021. First human trial of HIV vaccine produced immune response in 97% of volunteers. Isn't that crazy? It is a pain, I understand. It's a huge pain. A phase 1 clinical trial of an experimental vaccine primed the immune system using a unique approach in order to prevent HIV. The promising results, announced in February by the International AIDS Vaccine Initiative, the IAVI, and Scripps Research. The vaccine showed success in stimulating production of rare immune cells needed to generate antibodies against the fast mutating virus, and the targeted response was detected in 97% of participants who received the vaccine. We showed that vaccines can be designed to stimulate rare immune cells with specific properties, and this targeted stimulation can be very efficient in humans, said William Schief, PhD, a professor and immunologist at Scripps Research and executive director of vaccine design at IAVI's Neutralizing Antibodies Center, whose lab developed the vaccine. We believe this approach will be key to making an HIV vaccine, and possibly important for making vaccines against other pathogens. As a next step, IAVI and Scripps are partnering with the biotechnology company Moderna to develop and test an mRNA-based vaccine that harnesses the approach to produce the same beneficial immune cells. Using mRNA technology could significantly accelerate the pace of HIV vaccine development. HIV, which affects more than 38 million people globally, is known to be among the most difficult viruses to target with a vaccine, in large because it consistently evolves into different strains to evade the immune system. These exciting findings emerge from remarkably creative, innovative science and are a testament to the research team's talent, dedication, and collaborative spirit, and to the generosity of the trial participants, says Mark Feinberg, MD, PhD, President and CEO of IAVI. For decades now, HIV researchers have pursued the holy grail of stimulating the immune system to create rare, powerful antibodies that can neutralize diverse strains of HIV, known as broadly neutralizing antibodies, or BNABs. BNABs. These specialized blood proteins could attach to HIV spike proteins on the virion surface that allow the virus to enter human cells and disable them via important yet difficult to access regions that don't vary much from strain to strain. We and others postulated many years ago that in order to induce BNABs, you must start the process by triggering the right B cells, cells that have special properties giving them potential to develop into BNABs, secreting cells. Chief says, in this trial, the targeted cells were only about 1 in a million of all native B cells. To get the right antibody response, we first need to prime the right B cells. The data from this trial affirms the ability of the vaccine Immunogen to do this. The priming step would be the first stage of a multi-step vaccine regimen aimed at eliciting many different types of BNABs, he says. The strategy of targeting naive B cells with specific properties is called germline targeting, as these young B cells display antibodies encoded by unmutated or germline genes. Researchers believe the approach could also be applied to vaccines for other challenging pathogens, such as influenza, dengue, Zika, hepatitis C viruses, and malaria. This is a tremendous achievement for vaccine science as a whole, says Dennis Burton, PhD, professor and chair of the Department of Immunology and Microbiology at Scripps Research, scientific director of the IAVI Neutralizing Antibody Center, and director of the NIH Consortium for HIV/AIDS Vaccine Development. That title was ridiculous, my God. This clinical trial has shown that we can drive immune responses in predictable ways to make new and better vaccines, and not just for HIV. We believe this type of vaccine engineering can be applied more broadly, bringing about a new day in vaccinology. The clinical trial, IAVI G001, took place in 2 states, George Washington University in Washington, D.C., and Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center in Seattle, enrolling healthy adult volunteers, 48 to be specific. Participants received either a placebo or 2 doses of the vaccine compound EOD GT860 MER along with an adjuvant developed by the pharmaceutical company GSK. This is a landmark study in the HIV vaccine field, demonstrating success in the first step of a pathway to induce broad neutralizing antibodies against HIV-1, McElrath says. The study sets the stage for additional clinical trials that seek and will seek to refine and extend the approach, with the long-term goal of creating a safe and effective HIV vaccine. Funding from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation through the Collaboration for AIDS Vaccine Discovery and grants from the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases supported a network of partners conducting analysis and contributing to the vaccine development, including the NIH Vaccine Research Center, the government of the Netherlands, and the U.S. Agency for Internal Development. That's really, really good news. I mean, I've known a few people in my life that had HIV. I don't know anyone who has AIDS, but certainly if you were to meet somebody who has HIV or AIDS or either one of the two, it would be really great if you could take a vaccine and basically just be near 100% immunized and not have to worry about them going through the rigors of a still bleeding edge scientific field of regression therapy for HIV. I know a lot of people have made good use of that, and I would never try to say it's not a sure thing or not a good thing, but it seems like it's very difficult and a long, long road. You know, it seems really difficult. But I have thought about that, about meeting someone who I would love or have feelings of love for, and them maybe having a disease of some kind, and that getting in the way of things, because of course everybody likes the idea of intimacy between them and a special someone, but it certainly does put a damper on things if you learn that your partner has a STD or an STI. And nobody wants to bring that into a conversation if they can help it, but it is an important conversation, and certainly it's an important thing to be able to have that safe moment with somebody else, but this certainly seems like a better way to do that than a lot of the other choices I've heard. It's a very good thing though, isn't it? Science and technology and the future. It's a fairly crazy thing sitting here and looking at this technology and improvement, because we're all taking part in society at large. We're taking part in the world, the strength of each other's shoulders, and standing on the shoulders of giants. Because the entire human race up to this point, they've all worked, and some of them have slaved for so long. Such a very long time. And we're the result. We're the golden egg that spawned from the millions of geese. It makes me feel lucky. Because I feel grateful to even be here. That's a symptom of everything I've been through. But if nothing else, I feel that even existing, being born and having a working mind and body, you can't really ask for much more than that. I know that I'm grateful for having all this talent as well, and that's not me trying to brag, but I do feel grateful that I have a kind spirit and a good demeanor as well, I know so many people who have struggled with both of those things. So it's certainly a good thing. Have you fallen asleep by chance, Ella? Because you're so quiet in chat. I want to see some Tatty Two Bears. I need to get an Ella emote, a Tatty Two Bears emote. I'm not sure what that would look like though. I am glad you were on time this episode though. Made me happy to see that. It really did. But we are moving on to our first segment of cute animals. Oh, thank you so much, Playful. I just like helping people, and I like, I like making people happy and making them relax, and I love giving people something to feel at home with and safe with. And if I didn't do this, if I didn't take this time for you folks, it's not just for you, it's also for me. Because I love it. This show and all of you folks are a light in my life. And now we're gonna watch What a Hamster Does When a Living Box is Filled with Sand by Simi TV. My sister had a hamster named Milo. And I remember that was probably the first time I dealt with animals and passing on. Because I was so unaware of the concept of moving on from an animal that had been, in your life and having them pass from this life to the next, that I was so shocked, I guess. When you teach a child about things like life and even death, when you think about those things as a child, they don't really make sense to you. You're just kind of like, oh, I know. Oh my gosh, it's morbid. I know that. It's very on point for this conversation, though. I know that there are things I don't understand, but you want to know everything, right? You want to know how things work. And when you see that face first, and you understand how sad it is that something isn't with you anymore, it can seem terrifying, but Milo was a good boy. He was a good boy, and he was a good pet. My sister loved him. And I felt affectionate for him too, though I worry that we had more of a negative loss towards him than she did, because I think me and my brother and my father especially all felt very seriously about his loss, whereas, it was her animal, but still, it seemed like maybe she had separated herself from it, which I can't say for sure, but certainly I felt very connected. But hamsters are real cuties, aren't they? I've thought about the kind of places I would put animals, as like a home or a place for them to live. And I've always liked the idea of them having a little cave to return to whenever they like. Because, animals need someplace nice to snuggle up in. Oh my gosh, look at them. Such big, beady eyes. I love how big hamsters' eyes can get. Even if they remain small, they're still precious and adorable. But that's just why you gotta treat them even better, because they're very fragile and gentle. I like when hamsters and guinea pigs, their cheeks get so big and round, and then they like kind of crouch and hunch over to eat something. I don't know why they always inspire so much wonder in me just to see them crawling around and looking at stuff. Seemed very pleasant, very pleased, if a bit skittish. This reminds me of a sandcastle I built when I was very young. When I was very young, I built a sandcastle on the beach. I remember it's probably the first time I'd ever tried. We had those sandcastle buckets where you put the dirt in and you pour the water in and the sand, excuse me, and then you place it down and you pull it up, and it's got like the matriculations and it's got the battlements and stuff. And I was always like, wow, how does it do that? You know, I always felt like it's crazy. But I just like digging in the sand. I didn't really even need to make any castles, so they are cute. Hammy booty, it's true. Chipmunks are cute too. The way they fill their faces and their cheeks get puffed from so much food. Yeah, you're right, Playful, they do. I was thinking about that actually. Have either of you ever watched Hamtaro? Because that's a show I remember. I remember Hamtaro. I used to watch that every day after school. Man, that was a different time for me. I had such a lavish childhood life when it came to like stuff to watch and food to eat. I would eat grape nuts and brown sugar, and I would sit in my Hamtaro. Yeah, I know. Ella, do you remember that? Were you there for that? I would sit and eat grape nuts and brown sugar. I would watch things like Hamtaro and Code Lyoko. Oh my gosh, Code Lyoko. I don't think I could even watch either of those these days. I feel I might have been spoiled as a child to grape nuts. Yeah, I know. Oh, look at that hamster boy. Nana. What a good boy. Just chewing all that cord, all that lovely little stuff. But yeah, I used to eat those, and I used to watch Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, and I used to watch Code Lyoko, which I can scarcely remember much about Code Lyoko except for that nerdy guy trying to make his girlfriend appear in real life, but he never could. I always felt like, oh, that's so horrible. I was like, they can't even hold hands, they can't even hug each other. I was like, oh man, it sucks. It's so bad for him. But you know, it's the problem with being a nerd is sometimes you can't make your girlfriend appear. You know, it's a problem. Komong. Virtual anime waifu. I guess that was an anime waifu, wasn't it? Hamsters always seem very gentle to me. You know, I don't know the exact difference between hamsters and guinea pigs, but I do like the way they wander around. They've got a very sort of crawling, it's almost mouse-like, but they're cuter than mice are, I have to admit. They have nicer patterns too. Or boyfriend. It's very true, Playful. Or boyfriend. Making your internet boyfriend or girlfriend appear as a nerd is quite difficult, quite challenging. You know, there was a while where I thought about like who I would like to meet, and unfortunately I was misled by somebody about their appearance at one point, and that was a huge damper on my spirits. Because, you know, if somebody tells you they look like one thing, or you see them as one way, and they keep up this facade, this appearance, this awful thing, and, you know, you get hit by those things, and you're just like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. But it's good to find out the truth, not in person, before you have to face them not looking like they said they looked. And it sort of all comes crumbling at once. I think about having that situation occur. I'm glad it didn't. Hamsters don't have to worry about being misled, though. Not about people's appearances, that is. They just, wander around, eat, have babies, and get pet. It is annoying, it's true. It's very annoying. I think the worst part was I had built up this amazing, ideal situation, these notions of romance and intimacy with that person, the person who didn't actually exist, the person who was just a series of other people and photos that were made to look like them. I had built up such a, honestly, this little eye sticking out of the whole little face. It's very good. I had built that up so hard that when I found out the truth, I was relieved. I was mad, but also very relieved to know that the secret was obvious and that it made sense to me. All of this that I had dealt with made sense. He's taking that chair with him. But yeah. We're going into our second quarter here. I've never met someone who's catfished you, but I've come across so many people who act one way around me, but are totally different otherwise. That's the hard thing, is sometimes people don't even know they're doing it. People just start down this road where they're like, I am this other person, and by the time they realize what they're even doing, or that they have changed themselves for one reason or another, it's sort of too late to go back. And they can't stop themselves but act a certain way in that setting. And I've been there before, I understand that. I like watching hamsters dig in the sand, and I like watching cats play around and stuff like that. And that's something I think I'll always like. But in the past, I thought that was, sort of, the word's blasé about it. I thought it was just sort of this thing that everyone did, and I didn't think it was interesting. But I don't know, I like it a lot, seeing animals do their thing. So I can't say much. But in the past, I was an edgy boy. I was very edgy, and that kind of thing where it's like not emo, but kind of has the emo vibe to them. A troubled young man is what I was. Very, very troubled. But you put up with a lot of things sometimes to get to the future and the way you are. Oh my gosh, I really like that. It's like a penguin, it looks like a penguin or an owl egg, and the hamster comes out of it. Catfishing is illegal. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Well, certainly is against my personal ethics to do so anyway. It is a very harmful thing, especially to a young person who doesn't understand the difference between that internet relationship and a real one, where it's sort of like not clear to them where one begins and the other ends. It's a very damaging thing. I don't really like the term catfishing, though, to be honest with you. Seems offensive in some way. But yeah, I think that AIDS HIV vaccine sounds really incredible. There's just so many people whose love has been split apart by that. Just like you can have your love split by being misled that way. And it's just two fractures from very different but incredibly important parts of life. And, to get between them, to make them work, to settle the score and make your differences okay and not a problem. That's what our society is all about, is working together. And we've made some crazy improvements these past few months especially have been really great for environmental stuff and that sort of thing. But you know, you get through a lot of these problems if you just give yourself time. And that's not always a luxury everybody can afford, and I understand that. But the important part is that you take a breath, you stay cool and calm, and just give yourself some time. Even if it's a few minutes. Just a few minutes can make a world of difference. Our next one is called Make an Extra Large Cage for Hamsters, which we won't see all of this, but we'll look at a bit of it before we get into our next news subject. Aw, a shy boy. A very trusting hand to help up the hamster from their little place. Aw. Gosh, that's cute. They're so blonde. Oh, I like when they recoil back into their den to snack. That's a good look. Hiding under the earth, where it's warm. Must be great. It's like swimming for hamsters. Aw. Well, I don't know what this is saying, but it does seem a bit grim, doesn't it? Okay, no, they're alright. It was just a... It's okay. It just seemed like a weird choice of music there for a second. Alright, we're going to move on to our next good news story. This is from Good News Network from today, April 17th of 2021. Walmart commits to helping save pollinators by mandating change for supply chains. Without pollinators like bees, butterflies, birds, and beetles, some of our favorite foods would not exist, and Walmart has announced a set of plans in the US to persuade its grocery supply chains to adopt principles that will protect them. Walmart and its new commitments announced this week serve as a large pollinator health effort from a US grocery retailer to date. According to the head of produce sourcing for Walmart US, Martin Mundo, the aim is to reduce several pollinators' threats through promoting integrated pest management (IPM) practices and improving the expanding pollinator habitats. Walmart US will source 100% of the fresh produce and floral items it sells in its in-store produce departments for suppliers that adopt integrated pest management practices as verified by a third party by 2025. America's largest retailer will also encourage fresh produce suppliers to report their pesticide applications and biodiversity management annually through Walmart's annual sustainability surveys. We are also encouraging fresh produce suppliers to phase out use of chlorinated chlorpyrifos, and nitroguanidine, neon, isotenoids, pesticides, were applicable unless mandated otherwise by law, and avoid replacing them with products having a level 1B precaution rating. And assess and report annual progress, wrote Mundo on the Walmart corporate website. To help improve and expand pollinator habitats, Walmart US will also encourage fresh produce suppliers to protect, restore, or establish pollinator habitats on at least 3% of land they own, operate, and or invest in by 2025. This is great news. I love the bees. Walmart has already pledged to protect, manage, or restore at least 50 million acres of land and 1 million square miles of ocean by 2030. Starting this month, plants that attract pollinators will feature special tags to help customers grow their own pollinator gardens. In total, more than 1.3 million annual and perennial pollinator promoting plants will carry tags in Walmart stores this spring. We will also continue to avoid selling invasive plant species in our retail stores based on recognized regional lists, and work with local organizations to protect, restore, or establish pollinator habitats in major pollinator migration corridors, the senior vice president added. In addition, we have partnered with solar developers to establish pollinator habitats around solar panel arrays, like the one at our distribution center in Lawrence, South Carolina, and through Walmart's lead participation of community solar farms across Minnesota. We will continue to look for opportunities to establish more pollinator habitats where feasible. The nonprofit arm of the retailer and Walmart Foundation recently granted funding to the Cornell Lab of Ornithology to continue collecting citizen science data that monitor pollinators in local areas to improve conservation planning. That's a great story. Saving the bees. The bees do need saving. And we're the only ones that can do it. I think that I've actually got a planter of my own that I've been making for the past month. And it's coming along. We're almost to the finishing phase. We have to decide if we want to use Quikrete on it or not, which we may end up doing. Probably, though, just going to be a bunch of dirt and bricks. That should be nice, though. I'm looking forward to it. I'd like to finish a project that I've started after not having finished any of them for so long. It's a busy time in my life. It's a good time, but still a busy time. We've got our lovely little show together. Our lovely little cast talks. And we've got so much else going on. We've got a whole Discord of activity just hanging in there for people to come and visit. That DIY channel has been great for me, and we've got some activity inside of the Cute Animals channel too, which I'm happy about. And you know what? I like that this trend of good news has been really picking up recently. It always makes me have good vibes, and it's a great end of the week. But you know, in the past, I did find myself having a huge and difficult time ever relaxing. It almost feels like the only time I can ever really relax and not think is when I'm just talking. And that got me in trouble in high school and middle school, especially there. I used to just talk so much, so fast, and so rapidly. People would get annoyed, or angry, or frustrated, or upset with me. I understand why. I mean, if there's a kid talking too much and you don't like the sound of it and it just keeps going on and on and on, it can be a real drag, a real hassle. I try my best to curb that, but the reality is, I do like hearing someone speak, and honestly, I like the way I sound. I like hearing myself, and I like calming myself down by that same token. I do feel really calm whenever I'm speaking, because I feel like I'm saying something real and it exists, and I always feel like I graduate from just a thought to a reality when I speak it. It makes me happy. That's why this show has been one of the longest running things in my entire life. 26 weeks. I honestly don't even know how I thought to start this. You know, I was just thinking October 31st, wouldn't that be a crazy night time to start? And before we know it, we're going to be back at Halloween, having our cast talks again, our Halloween episode. It'll be a whole year by then. But it will be a Sunday, so we'll have to stream on the 30th instead of the 31st, but it'll be about the same. Because Halloween's not on the same day every year. Same difference, though. But you know, a lot of things change. A lot of things have gone through the process of this show. And something that I never expected was that to like the animal videos so much. It always has such a curious thing to me to see them, and it always feels so splendid. You know, it always feels so interesting and so chain reactive to see animals wandering around, eating things, making mischief, and that sort of thing. Let's look a little bit more of that right now, actually. That'd be nice. I want to skip the builds though and go straight to the actual hamster. Hamster wheels. Hamster wheels kind of personify a few things in my life in the past. Isn't that strange? It's easy to sort of feel like you're in a hamster wheel from time to time. Hamster vision. It's cute. Now put in the hamster. Let that boy come out on his own. Because you know he's shy. Shy but trusting. Aw. See, he does trust him. He'll come out. I know, see, he'll come out. Just give him a minute. Give him a minute to come out and he'll do it. There we go. In this new foreign land. It's pulling leaves. Taking big old bites out of them. I need to remember this the next time I want to sit down in the living room, just to have a hamster video in the background. Lovely screaming laughter. Oh, did you hear that? I can't believe you heard that. No. No, I'm gonna have to text them and let them know. It's what? 53 minutes in. Okay, I can remember that. I hope it's not too loud. You hear it too? Yeah, it is. My family watching something. Noticeable, yeah. I'll do something about that. Your scream just got picked up. Laughing just got picked up by my microphone. I hope it does something. Well, anyway, I can take that out in the actual YouTube video. It was funny. I'm glad. It's not exactly what I'm going for, though, as far as ambience is concerned. I was taking little sips from the water bowl. I like when hamsters close their eyes, though. Get all buried underneath. Still funny to hear them? I'm very envious of animals that can burrow under stuff like this and just make a little home in the middle of the sand, in the middle of the stuff. Seems so cozy under there. You know what I mean? Seems so cozy. Holy. What's holy? Playful. I think that there's a lot of this activity of sitting here and hanging out with you guys every week. There's a extremely calming effect it has on my progressive demeanor. You know, the development I have as a person has been affected by it. I know just how far down it dug. I know what you mean. They're good dickers. Just how far it dug into that stuff. Nice. Gotta build a better ramp. Very good, it's true. Look at that. But I am envious of, I am envious of how free animals seem to be. You know, how much they can just roam and move and burrow to their heart's content. Oh, a giant beetle. Save that for next time. Aw. A cute and shy little boy. You know, when I was very young, maybe about 5 or 6, I remember that I used to play with Play-Doh. I don't know why this is making me think of that, but I used to roll Play-Doh around in my hand and squish it. I never really made anything with it, I just like squishing it like a stress ball. I feel very, like, I feel like it makes me less stressed to hold animals. Not to squish them, of course, but to have them in my hands and to hold and pet them. It's a similar effect, though it's far less physically impactful in that way. You would smell it. Yeah, Play-Doh smells really good. It smells really good. I can never recall it completely, but when I smell it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's Play-Doh. That's Play-Doh. And it was new. It was new every time. Oh, but folks, we are at our halfway point. Some good smells, huh, Ella? It's true, playful, good smells. So, this is a 5-minute break where we like to... You're not smelling the right Play-Doh then, Ella. That's all I can say. We're taking our 5-minute break. What that means is you take 5 minutes to stand up and stretch, go get something to drink, go to the bathroom, and go take care of yourself. And then come on back in 5 minutes and we'll keep hanging out. So be back in just a little bit. Sit tight or go do your thing. Because that's what I'm going to do. And we're back. Hope you guys had a nice little break. Thank you very much, Ellen. Oh, look at these tiny jelly beans. That's how hamsters start out. They start as jelly beans, just like lots of other things. Thank you very much, Playful. And welcome back to you too, even if you were just sitting there the whole time. I like saying these progressions into how hamsters and tiny animals age. They always start out so like jelly and so tiny. It's true. I think almost everybody starts off as a jelly bean. But you know what? Delicious. No. It's the kind of jelly bean that you hold in your hand and you let it get bigger. Sitting there the entire time, but it's okay, yeah. I'm glad you were at least enjoying your sit time. They're just perfect to hold and run your finger over and keep warm. Let them stay warm next to their mama. Oh, so cute. We're going into the third quarter of our episode for today. It does really relax me from the week's tribulations to be here watching these videos with y'all. With all of you. Oh, they're getting their eyesight and their motions and movements and agility. Like they're just still flopping around like little jelly beans. They still need so much protecting. Oh, so tiny. Alright, we're about to get into our next good news story. I want to see these hamsters just a little bit longer though. Just before we start. They're all clinging to their mom. Clinging to her bod. Because that's all they're used to, is holding on to their mom. She doesn't mind though. She's okay with a bit of cling on. Now let's see about our next news story. Here's sort of a quick one. Actually, it's not that quick. cognitive motor training. Here, sorry, let me read this right first. From Alyssa Ross, April 15th, 2021. Movement video games increased cognitive skills in 80-year-olds with severe dementia. Cognitive motor training helps in the fight against Alzheimer's and dementia, as demonstrated for the first time in a study by the international team of researchers. A dementia diagnosis turns the world upside down, not only for the person affected by the diagnosis, but also for their relatives. As brain function gradually declines, those affected lose their ability to plan, remember things, or behave appropriately. At the same time, their motor skills also deteriorate. Ultimately, dementia patients are no longer able to handle daily life alone and need comprehensive care. In Switzerland alone, more than 150,000 people share this fate, and each year a further 30,000 new cases are diagnosed. To date, all attempts to find a cure in the form of a drug for this disease have failed. Dementia, including Alzheimer's, the most common of several forms of dementia, remains incurable. However, a clinical study carried out in Belgium has now shown for the first time that cognitive motor training improves both the cognitive and physical skills of significantly impaired dementia patients. A fitness game known as Exergame, developed by the ETH Zurich spin-off Dividad, was used in the study. I like that name, Dividad. In 2015, a team of scientists led by ETH Zurich researcher Patrick Eggenberger, these names are great, showed that older people who train both body and mind simultaneously demonstrate better cognitive performance and can thereby also prevent cognitive impairment. However, this study was carried out on healthy subjects only. It has been suspected for some time that physical and cognitive training also have a positive effect on dementia, explains De Bruin, who worked with Eggenberger at the Institute of Human Movement Sciences and Sport at ETH Zurich. However, in the past, it has been difficult to motivate dementia patients to undertake physical activity over extended periods. With a view to changing this, Eva van Heterev, a former ETH Zurich doctoral student, founded the spin-off Dividad in 2013 together with her PhD supervisor, Elin De Bruin, and another doctoral student. We wanted to devise a customized training program that would improve the lives of older people, says Van Heterev. Fun exercises were developed in order to encourage people who were already experiencing physical and cognitive impairments to participate in training, and the Senso training platform was born. The platform consists of a screen with the game software and the floor panel with 4 fields that measure steps, weight displacement, and balance. The users attempt to complete a sequence of movements with their feet as indicated on the screen, enabling them to train both physical movement and cognitive function simultaneously. The fact that the fitness game is also fun makes it easier to motivate the subjects to practice regularly. 8 weeks training for dementia patients. An international team recruited 45 subjects for the study. The subjects were residents of 2 Belgian care homes, aged 85 years on average at the time of the study, and all with severe dementia symptoms. The participants were divided into 2 groups on a random basis, explains De Bruin. The first group trained for 15 minutes with the Dividad Senso 3 times a week for 8 weeks, while the second group listened to and watched music videos of their choice. Following the 8-week training program, the physical, cognitive, and mental capacity of all the subjects was measured in comparison with the start of the study. The results offer hope to dementia patients and their relatives. Training with this machine indeed enhanced cognitive skills, such as attention, concentration, memory, and orientation. For the first time, there's hope that through targeted play, we will be able not only to delay but also weaken the symptoms of dementia, emphasizes De Bruin. It is particularly striking that the control group deteriorated further over the 8-week period, while significant improvements were recorded in the training group. These highly encouraging results are in line with the expectation that dementia patients are more likely to deteriorate without training, adds De Bruin. But playful training not only has a positive effect and impact on cognitive ability. Researchers were able also to measure positive effects on physical capability, such as reaction time. After just 8 weeks, the subjects in the training group reacted significantly more quickly, while the control group deteriorated. This is encouraging in that the speed with which older people respond to impulses is critical in determining whether they can avoid a fall. The research group led by De Bruin is currently working on replicating the results of this pilot study with people with mild cognitive impairment, a precursor of dementia. The aim is to use MRI scans to investigate more closely the neural processes in the brain responsible for the cognitive and physical improvement. I like that one. We've had some pretty good stories today. Oh, I like this one better, actually. Let's read another one. This is from Andy Corbley from April the 15th of 2021. New York City begins electrifying its garbage truck fleet. Operating at the fuel-guzzling range of 0 to 35 miles per hour, making continuous stops, and weighing many tons, diesel garbage trucks are prime candidates for an electrified makeover. New York City Department of Sanitation have retrofitted 12 of their garbage trucks with hybrid electric motors and batteries from a Canadian company called Afenco, whose technology can also be found in cities of Paris and Los Angeles, in vehicles such as dumpster trucks, port terminal tractors, and more. Instead of lithium-ion batteries like those found in most EVs and hybrids, Afenco uses ultracapacitors. These propulsion systems operate not only the engines but the onboard equipment, such as the garbage compressor. Their immense electrical delivery reduces their capacity to store energy, meaning the trucks have a shorter range, but ultracapacitors have a much longer lifespan than lithium-ion batteries and can discharge millions of times without wearing down. The hybrid electric technology actually shows reduced energy consumption by 30% compared to if the vehicles were full electric and had to sit on the mains all night. Mayor Bill de Blasio signed an executive order that mandated the creation of a fully electric municipal fleet by 2040, and Deputy Commissioners of the Sanitation Department, Rocco DiRicco, has already ordered 14 brand new trucks outfitted with Afenco's ultracapacitors to join the 12 already retrofitted ones. There are over 2,000 general collection trucks in the sanitation fleet, and Arsenault feels his technology can help with another problem the department has. The noise of the diesel engine makes trucks dangerous creatures to passing motorists, as the driver can't hear if a car is approaching from behind. Furthermore, the constant stops and starts inherent in the job means the truck is constantly belching out noxious fumes, which are hazardous to pedestrians and to workers themselves. The company recently raised 10 million CAD in financing for expansion of operations across Europe and North America, which follows on an exceptional fiscal year that saw sales soar in 4 different countries as more and more governments work towards making their targets for emission reductions. I think that's going to be it for our good news for today. Well, maybe one more. I'm not sure yet. How are you two doing? If you're still hanging out, you might be asleep, which is fine. But if you are still hanging out, I'd like to know what you're up to. You're Gucci, just drawing. You're good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Having that relaxation effect, I suppose. Well, do let me know what you're drawing, Ella. I'm interested. I used to do a lot of role-playing, just a portrait. Well, lovely. When I was very young, and by that I mean like 16, 15, I used to do a portrait, not portrait, excuse me, I just saw the word and I said it. I used to do a lot of role-playing on a game called IMVU. There's all sorts of strange and sometimes naughty roleplays, but really it was just a means for me to act out and be a part of a world of intimacy and exploration that was involved in, steeped in kind of a need, because I was so deprived of those things in real life based on what was happening to me and what I was going through, that I found a deep need to have them in my life, in some capacity. You know that game when you played it before. A lot of people that have played Second Life have also played IMVU. A lot of people. IMVU is crazy. Yeah, it really is. Ella, it really is. I'm actually glad that I quit, though, to be honest with you. I was forced to move on after being banned from IMVU. It's a strange thing. Very strange. But I was trying my best to be in that world of things happening, yeah, I got banned. It was a strange time for me. I wanted to be involved in all sorts of things. And instead of finding a real world person to have those involvements with, I did choose to find them online. Which it does make me sad to think I chose that, because I think I would have been much more experienced and happy to actually talk to somebody and have those experiences with them instead of just going online to find some facsimile of it. But you know, when you're young and when you're really sheltered and shy and timid, it's very easy sometimes to feel as though going out and finding a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever, that can feel impossible because you can just feel so separate from it, from the idea, from yourself, from the world. And certainly playing video games and things like IMVU especially don't help. I guess if I had to give any advice to a younger me in that period, it would be like, turn off your computer, go outside, and start taking walks. Don't play IMVU, don't play any of that. Spend a good year away from your computer and join a club. Join weightlifting. Eat better. All those things. That's what I would do. Because I was going through such a hard time. And it's important to remember that, you know, unless resurrection or reincarnation or living life over again a second time like Groundhog Day, unless those things exist, I won't get that chance to change those things. But maybe there's some kind of VR technology in the future that will get me something like that. Who knows? But it is interesting to think that certainly my life would have been different. But maybe I wouldn't have ended up here doing this for you folks. So I don't know what the major benefit would have been, but certainly it might have been nice to have that sort of healthiness in my life, that kind of healthy discipline. I do like lifting weights, but I was very scrawny, very tiny. Track and field might have been nice too. Maybe track and field would be better. I'm not sure if I would have liked weightlifting or track and field. I'll tell you one thing, I'm not trying to relive this life, Ella. I appreciate what you mean. I think maybe heaven, and this is one of my many thoughts on heaven, it would be nice, should heaven exist, to have a chance to live your life over again without losing any of the goodwill or humanity that you had in your last life, with all the important life lessons and knowledge and help that you would need to go through life, knowing how to solve a situation, knowing how to re-experience something and live it over again, but better, more fulfilling and fun and satisfying and healthy. Having that edge on your former self, that would be something, wouldn't it? Aw, nobody wants to relive this crap life, yet we are daily. In your next life, a pampered cat. Aw. Well, Playful, I think that perspective plays a very heavy part in understanding why we feel these things about our life. But I can only say I hope you feel a little bit better about that sooner rather than later. As for you and Aries, I do hope that you both get to share some kind of very special Ella. Yeah, I thought about that too. That pampered cat. I thought about that too. I do hope that you guys get to share some kind of special, I'm not sure what you would call that, special connection in the next life. A connection reserved for best friends and people we're intimate with and we care about. If there is a heaven, I hope that those sorts of things exist, like some kind of crazy internet of emotions and feelings. You know, sort of like an infinite microcosm of connections. I've been thinking about that a little bit more than usual, thinking about the good that can come from living a full life, from living until I pass from old age is sort of my goal, to live out my full natural life. Assuming that, like, immortality or something isn't invented somewhere along the way, which I don't know, I mean, it could be. It seems pretty unlikely, but if I can become a nano machine, nano-Cass, I'll do it. That sounds fine to me. And then I can do who knows what. And once I'm full of nano machines, I don't know what I would do next. I don't know. I'm not sure how that would even work. But if such a thing is possible, which I imagine it would be eventually, then I'm sure life would be yours to explore and to adventure through for who knows how long. It's an interesting idea. And who knows what I'd even think by then. Maybe I wouldn't care so much. Maybe I would care a lot. I don't know. We're going into our final quarter of this episode of Cast Talks. Do you guys like it when I say what quarter it is, or do you think I shouldn't? I want to know, because I like letting people know, but I don't like announcing it if it's like too tension creating, Is it creating too much tension, do you think? Because I'd like to know that. I was saying, do you think that it's okay to say when we're entering into the next quarter or the last quarter of the episode? Or do you think I should stick with the middle and the end? Because I wonder if saying each quarter is too tension creating, if it's too anxiety inducing. Maybe it would be better to say it only once. Okay, maybe. Just saying the half. Okay, I'll try that. Because I do like sort of letting people know what's going on, but I guess saying each quarter might be a little too much. I'll change that from now on. This has been a lovely day, though. A lovely night as well. And tonight, when I lie down, I'm going to have my hands in a healing position on my stomach for my epicondylitis. I'm looking forward to that, though it's going to be a little difficult actually lying down and staying that way, because I always get so uncomfortable in the middle of the night. I'll wake up and I'll be like, ugh, I gotta move my hands, and it just gets so crazy, it gets so crazy. But then I wake up sometimes and I have this energy where I'm like, I need some food, and I just like bolt into the kitchen, grab a bagel and an orange mango soda, and I'm just like, sit down and eat for a good 15 minutes. That's when, antipsychotics will do to you, though. That's the life I lead. From one sort of crazy thought to the next sometimes. I think it was my mom who said, when everybody puts their problems in the middle of the room, you're always quick to pull yours back. And it's true. You usually move a few times at night yourself, yeah. I am restless sometimes where I'm just like tossing and turning all night. I remember that specifically. I've had nights like that where I just didn't even fall asleep at all. Man, those are tough. I'm sorry that you if you ever have been kept up too late by that, though. Yeah, I have a lot of energy sometimes, and it strikes at the weirdest moments. It'll strike when I'm laying in bed trying to sleep, or it'll strike when I'm on the toilet or taking a shower. It'll strike when I'm on a walk, or when I'm just about to fall asleep. And then it'll be gone, just like that. It's a strange thing. Mental health. And I don't pretend to understand it very much. I do feel grateful to have people in my life that do understand it, though. It's usually just when I'm sleeping I end up moving as I get uncomfy. Yeah, it happens to me too. It's a muscle relaxation thing. You know, your muscles get too, I think like they get too relaxed, they need to shift. It's like falling asleep, your body falling asleep. Because usually your body is in a semi-paralytic state when you're asleep, but that gets uncomfy for yourself. It gets uncomfy for me, I'll say that much. Semi-paralytic Cass, semi-paralytic Playful, semi-paralytic Ella. The three paralytics. I don't even know what that means, I just thought it would sound good. What a great world we live in. That's all I can say. How's your drawing going, Ella? Your portrait? I hope it's going really well. And don't let me disturb you if typing is getting in the middle of it. I'm just curious. Nah, you good. Thank you. It's going fine, thank you. Oh, well, good. I haven't made a portrait in a long time. The last one I made, I think, was of my Second Life character back in 20... maybe even like 2015 is the last portrait I made. Man, 2015. That was a year. That was a year, for sure. I have thought about things like opening up a restaurant of my own. Recently, I thought about that last, but I was thinking about the kind of restaurant I'd want to own. It'd be some kind of vegetarian place with vegetarian meats. Have vegan cheese. It would have veggie bacon. Maybe some Beyond Beef. Some corn. Very highly seasoned corn, mind you. It'd be like a home cooking place. I wouldn't do it for the money, though. I have to find interesting and unique ways to cook stuff. I thought you were going to say Beyonce when you said Beyond Beef. I would have Beyonce playing in my vegetarian restaurant at all hours. If you can only afford a holographic Beyonce in your vegetarian bar. It's great. I see what you're thinking, though. Maybe by then there'll be even more of a selection of vegetable meats. I can only hope. I have been eating a lot of veggie bacon recently, though, and it's really good. It tastes so similar to bacon that I just mistake it for actual bacon all the time. It's very nice. It's a little high in salt, though, but it's still very nice. But either way, it is certainly an interesting time to be vegetarian or vegan. I was a pescatarian for a little while, and I learned how to make fish bacon, which is actually pretty good. But I do prefer it this way. I do like my vegetables. Fakin. I haven't called it that before, but you're right, it is fakin. Or bish. But bish is not as interesting as fakin. You always come up with the greatest. You always come up with the greatest word mashups. It's always so good. Literally, you looked it up. Yeah, it is vegetarian bacon. The brand that I've been eating is Morningstar, but yeah, I know it cooks like bacon, it smells like bacon, it tastes like bacon. If you just use like olive oil to cook it, it sizzles like bacon too. It's very juicy. But it is dry if you don't cook it with the right thing. It dries out. It's very good though. My only problem with it is it's got, you want fried veggie bacon? I'll cook it for you someday. How about that? Seitan bacon. I'm not sure I understand that one. Vegan. Vegan bacon. Vegan bacon. Seitan bacon. Well, what I would apparently Satan is what it's made out of. Seitan. I mean, you know, if he makes good bacon, I mean, what can I say? It's hard to beat that. You know, what can be said? It's nice though. I'll cook you some someday if we ever get a chance to hang out in real life, which I do hope we do. That'd be nice. But it'd be up to you too. Yes, you. You are one of my best friends, Ella. So if I was gonna hang out with anyone, you'd be one of them that I'd choose. I've scarcely met anybody from real life, but I mean, there are people where I'm like, that seems pretty safe to me. You know, it seems like not a lot could go wrong, but I don't generally plan these things, and I haven't before, and I would not be as open to planning it now, but you know, I'm okay with still taking a look because I generally do like meeting people, and I met someone today. He was this dude named Pila, I believe his name was. He was marking the ground for the fiber cables for Cox, and he was very nice. He was a little bit distracted with his work, but we distracted each other from our own works. It was nice. I like meeting people though. There are not that many strangers in the world to me. Because if you have an open and soft heart, then I can usually find that heart and show you mine in return. It seems to be one of my gifts, is to be never met anyone from online, but I have met people who live pretty close, and we've also met up. That's pretty fair though. If you're already close, then it's not a huge deal. Almost. Oh, almost. It does seem like it's much easier if you're nearby though. Because I'm kind of in the middle of nowhere. Not completely in the middle of nowhere, but there's not that many people who live here that go online. At least not people I'm very interested in, to say the least. It's mostly just gamers in Oklahoma. My baby all the way on the other side. On what, the other side of the world or the other side of the country? The country, aw. Hey, well, they say hearts can reach over vast distances and still be just as strong as they ever were. But you know, it's still nice. It's nice to feel like you have a connection with somebody, even if they're really far away. Because then you can use that connection to fuel you and push you forward. And I think I remember my first girlfriend on the internet was named Snake Viper. Ah, what a name. I just remember that. God, the names that we use online are so crazy. I remember that I was so infatuated with the one picture that I say they because there's no way that we can assume it was a woman. The one picture they had, which is the common thing on the internet, is you look at one picture of somebody and sort of average out what they might look like doing or saying something else. And I was very intent on meeting that person for, whatever reasons 15-year-olds meet people for. And I was I was fooled into thinking I had an actual relationship. Because it's very easy to fool yourself into thinking that it's real, especially when it isn't. And that's the trap that I fell into many times. And it's easy. It's very easy because you get so caught up in the raucous of emotions when you're going through the process of an internet relationship, and you can really easily get pulled into it, especially if it's unhealthy, because it's so like fast and quick, and sometimes it is turbulent, but the turbulence could be fun. It could be fun. And by the end of it, you can feel so drained and so tired out that it's just like, oh, like, what's happened to me? What was I doing? And it's just a nightmare sometimes to try and figure out what you actually go through and what you're actually doing. But sometimes by the end of it, you're a little bit better off for it. You realize what's going on. And you get out of it, and you get on the other side. I know I had a lot of relationships that were sort of good that I ended because I wasn't ready for them. And I had plenty of relationships that were bad that seemed to never end because I thought I deserved them. That's the way it goes. But it's a good lesson to not neglect your children because they develop really bad habits like that. And neglect is a very powerful form of abuse, and it's something that I really went through. And it changes you. It really does. It's kind of a strange thing. But it always has its little ups and downs. One thing I really love about this, though, about this job, if you can call it that, is that it's really beautiful when things come together. And I know I can't stream video games at the moment, and I know I can't do the kind of dynamic stuff I'd like to do later on. There's still a lot that I do that makes me really happy, It does make me really happy to see you guys, and to be here and to engage and participate. And that can only get better, that can only improve as we get more and more people in here enjoying the mood and the vibes with us. And I look forward to it every time I do. so much history and so much mystery and intrigue in all of it. I do look forward to it every week. I've said this before, but I'll say it again. I do not need to make money on this to keep doing it. But if one day I could do this and make money from it enough to live like a slightly comfortable life, then that would be like a dream for me, to just do this sort of thing and just chill people out every week, maybe multiple times a week. Just this sort of calm atmosphere. That's my jam, really. That's all I could ask for. It's a good place to be. It really is. If there's one wish that I would have, is to make my living off of helping others feel better. That's the one thing I would wish for. And there's a lot of things that work that way, right? Plenty of people have had these really successful, really great careers that have started from, you know, what seems like almost nothing, and it just blossoms and grows into something bigger than itself. And I want to see that sort of change in my life that good. Sort of mix up of emotions and improvements in this vast world it could create. You know, that's what I'm interested in, honestly. That's what I'm interested in. That's the kind of thing I want to create. But everybody, it's been a great stream with all of you. But we've reached the end. We've reached the end of the stream. And as always, this is a great time to mention, you can find Cassius Mishima on Twitter and Instagram, on Facebook and YouTube. You can also find us here on Discord, in this nice little server, if you'd like to come on by and say hi. But most of all, you can find us here every Saturday. You loved it? I'm glad to hear that. You can find us here every Saturday at 7:30 p.m. CST. We do this show every week, and we've been doing it for 26 weeks in a row. So we're gonna keep on going with that streak and see how long it can go for, really. And for all of those of you listening here in the present, it's been great to have you, and for everybody listening in the future, you know, I hope that if you're asleep, you're relaxed, and, you know, you're just not thinking about anything but your dreams. And if you're awake, I hope you feel better. I hope that you're a little lighter and a little bit more enthused because of the stream. And as always, you guys have a nice, safe, quiet night. A quiet, quiet night. Just have a nice night where you stay safe. You take it easy. And you take care. I'll see you next time. Good night, everybody.